Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Downsized. My name is Christopher Durham, and you might know this is the Downsized Dish, and I'm welcoming Joe today. Hello, Joe.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Before we jump into that, let me do all the obligatory. So Joe and I are not doctors, or you're not a doctor, are you, Joe?
Nope, I am
Okay,
not.
we're not doctors. This is not medical advice. So please, if you're thinking about doing a health and wellness journey, GLP-1s, any of that, talk to your doctor. Make sure you have the right plan for you. Everybody has their own unique situation. We want to make sure you take care of yourself. If this is your first time here or this is your 100th time here and you haven't already subscribed, make sure you hit the like and subscribe button. It'll alert you every time that we publish something. So that's the obligatories. This is the channel that talks about GLP-1s, right? Mounjaro, Zepbound, Wegovy, Ozempic, tirzepatide, semaglutide, all the above. And today we have Joe. So Joe, tell us a little bit about yourself. Where do you live? Just kind of, who is Joe?
Sure. So I live in Buffalo, New York, in a suburb outside of Buffalo. I am a teacher aide in a special ed program in a local district. My wife is also a teacher. We've been married about 23 years. We have two daughters. My oldest daughter is 19 years old, and she has severe nonverbal autism. And my youngest daughter is 12 years old, and she is typical development and entering her teen years and all the fun. But about a year and a half ago, about 73-ish weeks ago, I started on Zepbound, and it quite literally has saved my life.
Well, so tell us about that journey.
Sure. So when I started, I was about 560 pounds, give or take a little. I didn't spend a lot of time on a scale, and it wasn't much fun, so I tried to avoid it. But I was having a lot of problems with breathing. I was actually diagnosed and prescribed supplemental oxygen. It was restrictive lung disease is what the official diagnosis was, but basically I was suffocating myself. So on top of that, I have a heart valve issue that was playing a role in it also, and just sleep apnea, severe sleep apnea, all the stuff that goes with it. I was lucky enough not to be diabetic yet. I'm sure it would have been coming. But I was headed down a really bad path, and I felt miserable. I could barely walk. I could, walk into my car in the morning to go to work, I would have to stop and breathe. And when I got to the car, it would take me a few minutes to catch my breath. And it was awful. It was not a great way to live. So I got to a point, I asked my doctor for some help. And we had talked about going the GLP-1 route before, and my insurance unfortunately didn't cover it. So I kind of let it slide and tried keep doing it the old way, and not much success. So finally I just went for it, and I was paying out of pocket for about the first 8 to 9 months, and immediately started seeing results, started feeling better. This was about March of 2024. By August of last year, I was no longer in need of the oxygen.
Wow, that's a big move.
Yeah, it happened pretty quick. And I was active. I was walking around. I was feeling better. I'd have to look back at the what I actually lost, but I think I was down about 100 pounds at that point. So it came off pretty quick.
You were still like 450, so you weren't tiny, but
right? Yeah, I was still up there. Yeah. So the getting off the oxygen and having the pulmonologist tell me you're good to go was a huge relief. And from then on, I just kept going with it, and now I'm down about a total of 190 pounds. I'd still like to lose quite a bit. I don't really, to be honest, I haven't thought much about what a goal weight would be, because it used to seem so unattainable. It didn't seem like something that I should even think about because I was so far away from it. And now
that's how I felt about it too. I was like, that's like saying I'm going to win the lottery. It
exactly.
doesn't matter. Right?
Yeah, it just didn't seem realistic, and it didn't seem like something I should be worried about.
Mm-hmm.
As I've gotten closer, I've started to give it some thought, and at this point, I'm keeping it small and well, I guess kind of big.
So give me all the numbers. How tall are you?
I'm 5'10",
Okay, so
and
we're
right
about
now,
the same size, or about the same height then.
okay, and right now I'm about 370 pounds. I would love to get under 300,
Mm-hmm.
maybe closer to 250 would be lovely. That's kind of where my goal is right now, but
Yeah.
it's something I'll obviously talk to my doctor about and see, where I should be. And
You take it one day at a time, man. It's, see how you feel, see how your blood work's doing.
yeah,
That's what people ask all the time. I'm like, there's no one answer for everybody. You got to do what's right for you.
exactly. And how I feel has always been my biggest concern because I felt so bad. So, any improvement in how I feel is just significant and noticeable.
Well,
So,
let's take a look at your pictures here. All right. So tell us about what we see here.
so the one on the left there is probably about my heaviest or close to it. I was actually at a function at my school where I work. And then this other one on the right was about a few weeks ago, actually. I was at my car dealership waiting for my car to be serviced. And I just happened to be in the bathroom and looked in the mirror and said, "Hey, I think I'll take a picture." And there it is.
Isn't that a good feeling, man? You see that skinny guy in the mirror and you're like, wait a second.
Yeah, every once in a while you see it and you're like, "Oh, I didn't know that was me." But
I startle myself all the time, particularly in like malls and stuff. You'll be walking around and I'm like, who is that?
yeah, it sneaks up on you sometimes, and it's a good feeling.
You can really see this in your face.
Yeah, that was the one on the left. I think I was actually at work at the time, but I was pretty sick at that point. I had a lot of health issues and all the stuff I talked about, and I felt awful. And I don't even remember why I took that picture. I didn't like taking pictures then at all, so I
Yeah,
have no clue why
I
I took
get
it.
it. So is this your kids?
These are my kids. On the left is Amelia. She's the 12-year-old, and she actually is she's in seventh. Well, she's going into 8th grade, which in our district starts in high school.
Mm-hmm.
So I work at the middle school, so she's leaving me and going to the high school where mom works. So that I guess that's okay. I'm having a hard time with that one. And then
Yeah, I'd be with you, man.
yeah, I like being with her. It was really kind of a special thing to be able to spend her middle school years with her. And on the right there's Maggie. That's my 19-year-old. She has autism. That was actually this past May, I believe,
Mm-hmm.
at the school's autism awareness walk. And it's again, I usually avoid pictures, so having pictures with my kids is it's a great feeling.
Yeah, that's lovely young ladies there.
Thank you. Oh, and that's my wife Julie on the left, and Amelia. I was actually Amelia's moving up day ceremony, and we just grabbed a quick family picture. Maggie was actually at school, so she couldn't be in it with us. But
Gotcha. And well, it looks like you've been doing great, man.
I'm trying. I feel great. I'm making improvements every day. I started doing my Amelia, my daughter, is a 2nd-degree black belt,
Oh, yeah.
so she got me.
Did we have a picture of that? I thought I had a picture of that. Let's see.
I think so.
Yeah. Oh, there we are.
So I've been watching her for 8 years training, and I decided to give it a shot. So I started doing martial arts at her school, which I absolutely love. It's a great workout. I'm with some great people I'm doing private sessions right now with one of the head instructors who is just fantastic. And he knows my story. He knows what I'm capable of and not capable of. And he adapts everything. And it's a very empowering place and just great. It just feels good to move and just to do things with a purpose.
And it's karate or it's TaeKwonDo?
It's TaeKwonDo. It's a mix of different martial arts, but it's mostly TaeKwonDo.
My girls, when they were little, did TaeKwonDo for a number of years, so I
Okay.
learned how to count in Korea and all the stuff. So.
It's a lot of fun, and for Amelia, she's now helping out with classes, and it's kind of cool to be there watching her help the little kids and moving along with it.
I think that's exciting. So let's see. If you're 5'10", how old are you?
I am 45 years old.
5'10", 45 years old. You started out 5'47", is that what you said?
About 565.
5'65", and you're now, what's your weight today?
373,
So
give
you're
or take.
doing great. And when did you start the medication?
March of 2024. So it's
Okay.
it's been, I calculated it the other day. I think it's been about 73 weeks, which I hit that 72-week mark, and
Mhm.
I know a lot of people, I've heard about this 72-week kind of stall. Hit or miss, but I'm feeling a little bit of a stall. But it's also summer, and I'm not as active as I am during the school year. So there's a lot of factors.
I've seen them talk about that on social media, and I read a lot of research. A lot of there's no research that says that,
Yeah,
none whatsoever. A lot of people talk about it. Um, I don't know. I mean, I've talked to people from everybody who've lost 300 pounds to 30 pounds, and I think it's just different for everybody.
yeah,
Just,
and there's those peaks and valleys. I've had stalls before in the past, and as long as you just keep working on it, keep the stick
Mhm.
with the medicine. If you have to up your dose, that's the one regret I think I have. I at first didn't really I didn't really pay as close attention to the titrating up as I wish I had, and
Yeah.
I went up a little quicker than I should have. Um, Not that it didn't work, and not that I didn't have any side effects. Everything was fine, but I wish I had gone a little bit slower so that I had someplace to go as I progressed. I've been on 15 milligrams now for about a year,
Hmm.
and a little less than a year, and it's still working though. So I don't really have complaints. It's
And I'll tell you, I've talked to a couple of scientists, and there's no real research on that, on how titration works. Like if you go slower, do you lose more across the total length of time?
Yeah,
And a couple of scientists I said they really thought when the research finally comes out, when we have enough time on it, that it was going to be about total length on, not about how quickly you titrate it up or not. He said they thought it would average out. You'd be like, it's the same either way. I
it,
don't know.
I mean, it still works. So I don't, I don't want to analyze it too much because it's working. So I just go with it,
Well,
listen to my doctor, and do
yeah, I
what
mean, the good thing is probably in the next 6 months, you're going to see Lilly release a couple of higher doses. We know they've got them in research. So there's some rumors about what those will be, another 5 or 10 megs up kind of deals. So hopefully by the time you need it, there'll be
yeah,
some other options there. And if
yeah,
not, certainly probably mid next year, end of next year, you'll see retatrutide come out, which you could layer on. And, so it's exciting. I mean, there's so much stuff coming.
it is. And seeing all the new research and all the articles that pop up about, all the unexpected benefits and health benefits that we didn't really know about, heart health and, the sleep apnea. That's why I got it approved through insurance.
So
Uh,
you must have moderate or severe sleep apnea then.
Severe. Yeah. When I first had my sleep study before I started on CPAP, anything, I think I was about 140 issues per hour was
Right.
the average. So it was, I remember, I just read the doctor's report a couple days ago because I was looking at it for insurance. And I think they listed it as extremely severe sleep apnea.
Wow.
So yeah, now I'm pretty much down to nothing. I think it was like point 0.1 instance per hour now. The last time my doctor looked at my machine.
I mean, that's life changing, man.
Yeah, yeah, that's huge. I sleep better. I feel better, but it's because of that I was able to get insurance to finally cover it because our insurance plan excludes weight loss meds.
Yeah. A lot. Ours doesn't cover them at all. So they're like,
It's
nope, there's no exceptions, period. That's it. End of conversation.
Yeah, it took some haggling, but we had to put in the prior authorization and appeal a few times, and they finally approved it in January. Right now, I'm actually waiting on a renewal of the prior authorization. So hopefully that comes through soon. But
Well, and so for folks out there who think they might have sleep apnea, it's not covered for all levels of sleep apnea. So you have to have moderate or severe. Those milder versions, it's not covered for, because I'll get an email that says, you said it was covered. I'm like, not for everybody. Go get the test. It's worth getting the test.
and I mean, just in general with all of this, I think everything is very individual, and you can't take one person's experience and apply it to yourself. It is different for everybody. So it's dependent on a lot of different things.
Well, so have folks noticed you've lost weight then, I assume?
Oh yeah. Yeah. Especially when I see people that I haven't seen in a while. At school, at my job, I'll run into some teachers that I, don't see. They're on the other side of the building, and, they tend to notice. And one of the biggest things, one of the teachers actually, who isn't, he's responsible for all of the school t-shirts and like merchandise with the logo on it. And last year I wasn't able to get a shirt in my size, and he knew what I was going through. He knew that I was working on weight loss, and at the beginning of the year he gave me one in a 3X and said, if it doesn't fit you now, it's gonna. And so it's encouraging, and it does fit, and that's
a non-scale victory, man.
Yeah. And it's huge because there's someone that I don't talk to that often, but he noticed what I was doing, and he appreciated the effort that I'm putting in, and took the time to kind of support me a little bit with it. So it's those kind of things that people do notice, and every once in a while you run into somebody that I haven't seen in a while, and they definitely notice. That's
so. Do you tell people you're using the medication or no?
Yeah, I do. At first I was a little shy about it. You get the naysayers and the negative comments, but I kind of got to a point where, this is something that is, like I said, quite literally saving my life. I'm not embarrassed by it. I'm not embarrassed. No. And it's, the more research that comes out that shows that, this is a disease that we're fighting, and any other disease, we'd get medical attention and get medical help. So why wouldn't I with this? And, I've tried, 10, 12 years ago, I lost about 300 pounds. I was doing CrossFit 7 days a week, and I was eating very strict paleo, and totally not sustainable. And as soon as I went back to work, it was when my daughter was a baby and I was home with her. As soon as I went back to work, it came back, and it came back hard. And then, I went through some depression issues with my other daughter, with her diagnosis with autism, and it just kind of crept back up on me, and just could never, my entire life, I have not been able to get control over it. And this is the first time I feel control.
And I love that word, because to me, that's exactly, maybe a week or two in, all of a sudden my head was working different. It's just,
when you can pass up on leftover food, or, when you're eating your dinner and you actually realize I'm full, like I can stop eating. That was huge for me. I never knew how to do that. I never could, even if I realized I physically feel full, I could not get myself to not finish what was on my plate and probably go back for more, even though I knew I didn't need it. So it's a strange but wonderful feeling to be able to just eat what you need and be content with it and feel satisfied.
So talk to me. What are you eating now?
I do. My wife and I, we love grilling. We don't get a ton of outdoor time in Buffalo. We get a few.
It's a little cold. Yeah.
So, in the summer months, we love grilling. So we do I do a lot of protein, grilled chicken, pork. We'll do steak. We'll do, it's kind of a treat, but we'll do steak. A lot of vegetables. I still, I'll one of my favorite things has always been, like a sub or, like a chicken finger sub, something like that.
Yeah.
I'll still have it. Once in a while, I'll still treat myself and have it. What I don't do anymore is eat the entire thing. And, I'll eat a little bit of it and feel satisfied and save the rest. And, it becomes less of, well, it has become less of a eating for satisfaction, eating to shut my mind up.
Yeah.
And more just, I want a treat. I enjoyed it. Moving on. And that was never a thing before. So that's been huge.
Yeah, that's a huge change. Absolutely. Well, so talk to me about, have you had side effects? Tell me about that.
I have never had any significant side effects. I've had a little bit of stomach issue here and there, typically just within a couple of days of the shot, and then very mild and doesn't really impact my life in any way. And I haven't had any side effects at all in, I would guess, about 6 months or so. So I've been lucky. I know a lot of people do have some side effects. I really have not. The only thing I did have some sulfur burps for a while when I first started.
Yeah.
And again, whatever, it outweighed, the benefit outweighed that little minor issue. And other than that, just staying up on, keeping hydrated, keeping protein, no side effects. So
I
I've
mean,
been
that's
really
great.
lucky.
To read Facebook or Reddit or whoever, you'd think everybody's about to explode from constipation. I never really had the problem either. So it's
No,
not, I think it's just individual. Well, talk to me. I know you're doing the TaeKwonDo and stuff. What about, what else are you doing as far as activity?
well, so I actually, Taekwondo is pretty much what I do right now. I do swim. My pool's in the background here. Um,
Yeah.
I love being outside and swimming, and especially in the summer, I'll just walk around the pool a lot, and I just love being out here. So it doesn't even feel like I'm exercising, but it is. Um, I do have, I think I mentioned I have a heart valve issue
Yep.
that I'm currently addressing with my cardiologist. That kind of slows me down a little bit right now, but I'm sticking with the Taekwondo and walking. Beyond that, we're kind of keeping it easy for now while I figure that out. But that's pretty much it. It's
I mean, that's exactly why there's all these people that have all these rules about what you should be exercising and what you should be doing. I'm like, everybody's unique. Don't tell this guy who has a heart valve problem that he's got to do X, Y, and Z because what
right,
you don't know what you're talking about.
exactly, and it's very when I think back to when I first started, just to be able to walk to my car was an excruciating experience. So, the fact that I can easily walk back and forth and, go to functions with my daughter and, go outside and maintain my pool and get in the pool and, enjoy my life, like that's pretty huge. So, clearly just doing that exercise that I can do is a huge improvement from what I was doing.
So,
And
what does your cardiologist say?
well, they're fine with me as far as exercising.
All of the above: weight loss, exercising.
Oh,
Yeah.
they're thrilled with the weight loss. The heart valve issue is something that we're still exploring. I've got some. I was in 2022. I was diagnosed with aortic valve stenosis, which basically just means that my heart valve is not opening and closing like it should. It's hardening, essentially.
Right.
It's typically something that happens in older age, or they think that at some point in my life I had rheumatic fever and it damaged my heart. So it was mild at the time. It's progressed and it's now considered severe, but my heart function is good. So, the cardiologist agrees with me that, this weight loss has most definitely saved my life, because you add poor heart function on top of this valve issue and I probably wouldn't be here.
Right.
But with the fact that I have lost this weight and my overall heart health is better, they're pretty content with that. I am looking at possibly having a valve replacement if I'm going to meet with some surgeon and get some tests done. And if that's what I have to do, that's what I'll do. It's, it's scary to think about that because it's heart surgery, but
Oh, for sure.
at the same time, it's, I think about how good I feel right now. And, the little bit that I do have an issue with still, if this could fix it and make me feel that much better and give me more time with my kids.
Well, I can tell you that surgery will be a lot safer now, 100, 150, 200 pounds down than it would have been.
Exactly. And there's two different types of the surgery. One is open heart, one is a catheter. They'll decide which they think is better, but it may be, it's something that I'll probably have to do again in 10 to 15 years, 20 years, maybe, depending on which one I choose. And, one of the deciding factors might just be that, yeah, you've lost all this weight. So maybe right now we do the less invasive one, give you 10 to 15 more years to lose more weight and be even healthier to go into another surgery. So there's a lot of things to consider. But, I feel great, and that's what I'm focusing on,
I mean, another year, you could be another, 100 pounds down in a year?
Exactly. Exactly. And that's, I think that's what I keep trying to focus on the most is just that, last year, how I felt where I was compared to this year, it's only going to keep getting better. So it's a good feeling.
Well, so what do your girls think about dad losing all this weight?
Amelia loves it. The 12-year-old, she noticed, she's been so supportive from day one. I mean, I've always just been dad. She never, I don't know if she was just too young to really pay attention to it, but, she definitely noticed that I'm more active now. I can do more with her. Especially being at school with her, she's, I see her during the day, sometimes in gym class, and, I'm around more. I can do so much more with her. She loves that I'm doing TaeKwonDo with her. She, because she's a second-degree black belt and I'm a white belt, she severely outranks me, which I think she loves that most. But it's something that we do together. The other day, I'm getting ready to test for one of the self-defense things that I had to learn, and she taught me. We were working in the yard, and she refreshed me and went through it with me. And it's a great feeling because it's something we do together, and she gets to see me. She sees the effort, and I think that's what I want most for her to remember is that yeah, I've got these limitations that have slowed me down. I've got I had this obstacle, but I want her to see that I'm trying, and that the effort is always there to improve and to do better. And that's how I want her to live her life. So that's how I got to live my life.
That's my dad always said. It's not the problems that define you; it's how you respond to their problems.
Exactly, and that's one of the things that she's, I think, learned a lot in martial arts is you can control what you can control, and that's what you need to focus on, and that's what I'm doing. And Maggie, she, because of her disability, she doesn't. I don't know what she understands and what she doesn't understand. I know she notices that I am with her more. I can do more with her. The autism walk that you put the one picture up earlier.
Right.
The last few years I wasn't able to go to it. It just wasn't comfortable. So this was kind of cool to be able to go to it this year. And I think she, if nothing else, she knows that dad's around, and that's what I want.
That's a good thing, man. It's a very good thing. So I'm curious, because we don't do a lot of these just guy ones, right? So I think we have about 70 of them. There might be, I don't know, 6 or 7 that are just guys. So if you were talking to your buddies out there about this, what advice would you give people who might be thinking about, taking a look at GLP-1s?
I think one of our biggest issues as guys, I apologize for whatever that noise
That's okay.
is, as guys, I think we tend to feel like we have to handle everything ourselves. And we were talking about that earlier. The ego gets in the way sometimes. And, I think what I have told people, actually, some friends of mine, is that it's something that is beyond our control to fix on our own. And, you've made the analogy of like, using a tool, and, you wouldn't, like you said, you'd use a saw, you'd use a hammer, you use these tools. This is just another tool that can help us to get to where we need to be in a safe way. We're using doctors. We're not doing this on our own. And it's a tool to help us achieve the results we want and better ourselves. So why would we want to let that ego get in the way and stop us from living that life that is right there? It takes a little bit of help and a little bit of putting that ego aside and just saying, like, I need help. It's okay to need help. It's okay to check your emotions. It's okay to, be concerned with yourself and your health. I think that's a lot of things that a lot of guys also tend to shove that to the side. Like,
Oh yeah.
I don't feel good, but I got stuff to do. I'll be fine. And that's not always the case. Sometimes we need a little more attention than that. And it doesn't make you weak, and it doesn't make you less of a man. And it certainly doesn't make you less of a father or a husband. It's ultimately putting myself first is putting them first.
That's a great way to say it, man. That's what I tell people all the time. I'm like, dude, the only part of this that's a failure is you not being here, right?
Exactly.
I want to be here to walk my kids down the aisle, to see grandbabies, to all those things, right?
Yeah, and that's exactly it. I would much rather my kids remember that, dad took medicine and lost weight and got healthy than dad's not here. So I'll take the meds.
Yeah, for sure.
I'll take the help that's there.
Well, so, because I get it all the time, and it's not just a guy thing, but I get it from a lot of it. I've got the meds in the refrigerator, and I don't know. I'm a little afraid. Did it ever scare you to begin with?
I never felt that way. But I would say, what do you have to lose? What's the worst that can happen? You use it and it doesn't work, so you try something else. But you're not gonna get anywhere if you don't at least try it. And again, it's anything else in life, sports, anything, we don't achieve it if we don't try it.
Yeah. Well, the answer is always no if you don't ask, right?
Exactly.
Well, so do you have any tips, any kind of tricks, any advice for people on, the day-to-day of it?
I think the big thing is for me, I didn't get to be the weight that I was without having a somewhat obsessive personality. Mm-hmm. So, even with now losing weight and doing all this, sometimes I catch myself becoming obsessed with the process and with, getting on the scale a little too often sometimes, and, expecting a result and then not seeing it and getting discouraged. And, I think getting out of that mindset, and the med actually does help with that. For me, it did anyway. But getting out of that mindset that any little change is, in the wrong direction is a failure. It's not. There's ups and downs. It's not a straight path. And, trying not to be so obsessed with always being on. Yeah. And, focusing on those little non-scale victories and those, looking at the big picture is.
I mean, I tell people all the time, because I'm sure you have, when we have a digital scale, right? And it pumps all the data in there. People are like, well, I didn't lose today. And I'm like, well, zoom out, go out to a month, now go out to a year and show me what your line looks like. And they're like, bam. Like, right. That's what you need to look at, not today.
Yeah. And day to day, everything, there's so many things that affect us. And, fluid retention, and if we eat something a little saltier than normal, I mean, there's just so much that can affect it. And it's easy to get obsessed with that. I've done it myself, but I think that's one of probably the most important tip that I would give somebody is just to back it up, look at the big picture, and focus on the positive stuff. And
So did you have any stalls along the way?
I did. I had a few. I don't remember exactly when they were, but nothing ever lasted more than a few weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And I just at that point I always try to stick with obviously whatever dose I'm on, stay on that, and just see if it's just a fluke. It just happens sometimes. Sometimes your body just needs a minute. So, I would just wait it out. And if it didn't improve from there, then, look at some things I could possibly change. Whether it's, maybe my diet's changed and I need to tighten something up, or maybe I'm not eating enough. Maybe I need more protein.
Right.
There's just a lot of different things. So I think maybe I don't know if it's the medicine or just the mindset, but it's instead of looking at the problem and saying, I have a problem, what do? I look at the problem and say, well, okay, how do I fix it? Like, what do I need to do let's identify the problem, if there is a problem, and fix it, as opposed to just giving up and grabbing a cheeseburger.
That's a great approach to it. I mean, I got to a place, I don't know, about 75 pounds down probably, and had some stalls and things in there. And I just kind of went, you know what? Every day that I'm this much down is a dang good day. So, do I want to lose more? Yeah, I want to lose more, but
Yeah,
it kind of is what it is. And I mean, I've been at goal weight, so I'm 5'10" and a half really, and I'm at 180. I was at 184 this morning. That's less than I weighed in high school.
that's fantastic.
Was that anything I ever imagined? No, I just wanted to get below 200. That was the only real goal.
Yeah.
But you get healthy, do what your doctor says, you take your shot. Time passes and it's all good, man.
Yeah, and you end up in the right place if you just keep moving.
Well, I'm excited. So, what about your wife? What does she think about all this?
She's excited. She's been supportive from day one. She was supportive when I was 560 pounds. She's supportive now. She notices the difference in how I feel and my personality and, my overall mood. I'm not an easy person to live with anyway, but at 565 pounds, I was definitely not an easy person to live with. I'm a cranky Italian guy, so I have my moments, but she definitely notices that improvement. She notices that I'm more active with the kids. I'm more willing to do things. This heart stuff is, slowing me down a little bit, and we're both cautious of that. But overall, I mean, I think she's just glad I'm here, and I think she's very aware of the fact that I may not have been without these changes.
It sounds like you're just breathing so much better between sleep apnea and just during the day that it's got to make you be a little less cranky, right?
Yeah,
a little less tired, probably.
Yeah, and especially with our daughter, with Maggie that has autism, she's not always easy to deal with. She comes with some behavior issues. She comes with a lot of work, and for a while it was hard for me to do that work, and so a lot of it fell on my wife. And the fact that now I am more capable of helping her and doing more of that stuff, that giving her a break is I know she notices it, and it makes me feel better that nobody wants to have their issues become somebody else's problem.
Yeah, well.
And especially someone that you love. So the fact that I'm now able to take some of that away from her and be more equal it's a great feeling for both of us.
Sounds like you're a good girl dad, man.
I try to be.
Yeah, it's awesome. Well, so any regrets? Anything you do differently?
Honestly, no. I try not to think about regrets. The only one, like I mentioned earlier, is possibly just moving up in doses a little slower. But again, I ended up where I need to be, and I don't think it really had any negative impact on me. So I don't really regret it. I'm trying to focus more on the positives, because if I go down that road with any kind of negative, I tend to fixate on it. So I try not to think about negatives too much. And, regrets are unfortunately not helpful, because there's nothing you can do about it now. So I just keep focusing on what's ahead of me.
I think that's a great attitude, man. All right. Anything else you want to throw in? Anything I haven't
No,
asked that you want to say?
no, I just really appreciate you taking your time to have me here.
Well,
I've
I
been
mean,
watching you guys for a while.
we love talking to people, man. We learn something different from every person. Everybody has in their story. There's a couple of kernels in there, and you're like, and the thing is, everybody wants to see somebody like them. Everybody wants that little piece of hope.
Yeah.
And I get those, well, why haven't you had so and so? And I'm like, well, that's you. Would you like to come on? Right? I think I told you that, right? It's cool. Would you like to come on?
Yep.
So yeah, I mean, if there's anybody out there who thinks there hasn't been anybody like me, well, come on, email me, Christopher@thedownsized.org, and we'll get you on, and either Lorraine or I or both of us can, have a chat with you, because, your story matters, man. You surviving matters to not just your wife and your kids, but now there's a whole bunch of people out there in the world that are going to go, hey, there's hope.
Yep.
It's a good thing.
Yeah, and there is hope, and it's good to focus on that.
Well, very good, man. I appreciate you joining us.
Thank you very much. I appreciate you having me.
Okay, well, so this is the Downsized Dish. If you haven't already, please take a moment, hit like and subscribe, so it'll alert you every time we do a video. We publish every day. And I will see you next time. My name is Christopher Durham, and this is the Downsized.